Hey everyone, Mano here with another Destiny 2 solo strategy video. The Outbreak Perfected Pulse Rifle is an amazing DPS machine. However, I need to update one of my last videos, which is actually getting a lot of traction right now, some of the easiest ways to get the Outbreak Perfected on console. With Shadowkeep out now, with supers and armor being significantly different, we need to update this video. So, I'm going to do this on PC as well as console. I'm going to go ahead and do this on my Sentinel Titan. The reason why is we want to use the controlled demolition perk on the Code of the Commander. That will allow us to do massive DPS with our Void Wall Grenade. Whatever jump you want to use is not a big deal. However, using that controlled demolition is going to be massive. Okay, let's talk weapons. I'm going to be using my Blast Furnace Pulse Rifle, which is what I used in my last video. I love this weapon. This pulse is just amazing. It has kill clip, it has feeding frenzy, has everything I need to clean up trash mobs. The mod I used on it is the miner spec, so I can clean up lots of little ads. I will say inside of Shadowkeep, using a scout rifle is actually very viable. So if you want to use that instead of a pulse, you are good. You also need to make sure that you have the Jotun fusion rifle. There is a really easy way to get that inside of Shadowkeep, so if you're interested, I will be making a video on that. It's super easy. Next up, we're going to get the 21% Delirium machine gun. Any arc machine gun would actually do really well, but I really do like my 21% Delirium because it has killing tally. I have backup mag on that one. It does amazing work. Now, you will notice in my build that I am using almost all Armor 2.0 sets. And the reason I'm doing that is to show you that you can currently find a way to make it work inside of Shadowkeep. I only have one piece of armor that is not 2.0 armor, and it doesn't really affect anything at all. I got a lot of flack in the last video because I used one piece that had, I think, a fallen mod on the helmet, I think it was, and so a lot of people are like, oh, you can't get heavy ammo that way if you do it solo. So actually with Shadowkeep now, we have this thing called the heavy finisher. It will use half of your super, but it will also generate heavy ammo. So right now, you absolutely don't need a fallen mod. You don't need anything else like that. You can literally just play the game and get this solo. Let's go ahead and show you how to do that now. You, of course, always have to make sure that you do your quest line to go in. So before you rendezvous with Mithrax, everything is set up and you're ready to go. I'm actually going to show you this run first on PC, and then I'm going to show you the end of the run over on console to show you that it is both possible and easily done over on both platforms. So I accidentally made a mistake here and had the wrong armor piece on. So the first thing I'm going to do here is very much like my last video, and you're going to hear that a lot. A lot of this is just the stuff from my old video with a few new takes, a few different ideas and things like that. But what I'm doing here is I'm putting the shield down here so that I force these guys with the shields here to stop. Now, because barrier shields are significantly different, you have to take time to reload your weapon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on getting a couple of easy kills on those shanks, and by doing that, that will allow me to go ahead, get some killing tally built up over on the left side of my screen, and then move on. Now, in the old version of this, I would have just been able to blast through all of that, basically just hide behind the barrier shield and run. However, because it's Shadowkeep, the barriers are significantly different. Make sure you reload all your weapons when you enter into the Tower Plaza. As we come across here, what I'm going to do is one of two things. I'm either going to knock out the shields of those guys to the left immediately and then worry about those guys over on the left-hand side, especially the giant shank over on the left side. But what you need to do next is look at those actual snipers who are up on top of the old tower area. Those guys will knock you out very easily if you're not ready. Now, one of the other things I also wanted to show in this video is that I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. I actually did this run on stream, and I think it was my second run. Like, I didn't really even sweat to get this done. I want to show you that it's even possible to make a bunch of mistakes, and you can still do this inside of Shadowkeep, so it's no big deal. I throw a grenade over to kill all those fallen guys that are over on the right-hand side. Then I use my 21% Delirium to knock out those shanks that are sitting over there. I always do a quick look for ammunition. Sometimes you can get lucky, but unfortunately in this case, I am not. We want to make sure that we are in the next part of the tower hangar at least with 17 minutes left on the clock. If you don't get it cleared by 17 minutes, I would recommend restarting it because you probably won't have enough time. Crawl through this area here, and very much like my last video, you're going to go ahead and start knocking out these ads over here. Now, because of the way that damage has changed, there are a lot of little things that you have to do. You actually have to spend a lot more time on these trash mobs. Back in the era of Forsaken, 2 or 3 shots with the Feeding Frenzy kill clip would easily be able to knock these folks out. However, pulse rifles have been nerfed a little bit in terms of range, as also has been the headshot damage. So I'm going to take out all those ads. Here, I'm going to maybe try and knock out 1 or 2 enemies. And here, I'm actually not going to do an amazing job. In my last video, I think I do a much better job of clearing this area. I'm actually, I think, going to run out of super a little bit early. It's not a big deal. So what we're going to do first is we're going to focus on getting those servitors down, because if those servitors aren't down, they're going to constantly shield those other guys, and that's going to make it very difficult to do damage. Yeah, so here I still have a Shank and a couple of other enemies up. Luckily, I get those guys knocked out, and then the top is cleared. I'm going to use my Jotun and actually just start to do some damage over here. Now, this is why I use a Sentinel Titan and why it's ridiculously easy. If you look at what I'm doing in the fight right here, I am doing 2 things at once. Not only am I doing massive damage to the tank with my Void Wall Grenade and my controlled demolition, I am actually taking out these servitors. It's very easy to do, but you do have to be careful, because in Shadowkeep, the fact that you don't automatically reload everything does change how you do this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and make sure we pick up that heavy ammunition. What we're going to do then is we are going to throw our Void Wall Grenades as much as possible at the tank until it dies as quickly as possible. We really don't want to waste ammunition on that, so keep throwing Void Wall Grenades. Get that controlled demolition on there so you are good to go. You'll have a bunch of little trash mobs here in this hallway. The biggest thing you need to take care of is that captain that has the arc shield. The 21% delirium will just knock that out really easily. Now, in this area, if this was Forsaken, 1 or 2 shots in the head would knock these guys right out. However, it is not that way anymore. So I'm going to kind of play it safe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out that giant Shank with my Jotun. 2 shots will take him out. We'll move on up here to this area. We're going to go ahead and take care of these trash mobs. What I will do is when we're in the hallways coming up, I'll use my heavy finisher, and then I will actually try to find a way to generate ammunition. Now, I want to do that here because I really don't need my super for this part of the encounter. It's actually very easy to do with weapons. I can actually save it and build up some ammunition for the next part. It's very simple. We're going to go ahead and go through here into the Tower Watch. Make sure you kill all the ads. If you miss any ads, you will get stuck behind a door and you will not be able to progress. So make sure you kill all the enemies. Check your radar, which is what I'm doing here. I'm going to move up into this stairway area, and sometimes I do find that with melees, you sometimes will just actually generate ammunition of the heavy variety, sometimes just randomly. It's very strange. I just noticed that a couple of times. It could be because I've got the heavy finisher on. I cannot confirm it though. And right here you can see it used it half my super, but I guaranteed a heavy brick, which is huge. Now I'm going to go ahead and take care of these folks again, just really easily with my pulse rifle, and move on. Again, these guys are really easy. I really don't need my grenade. I just want to speed through this really quickly so I can get to the next part. Now, on console, this is going to be a little bit slower. I won't actually show you this part. I'll show you the end. I do find that on console, things are significantly slower in terms of changing builds, in terms of turning corners. You do not move forwards and backwards at a different speed, but because of the way the mouse works and everything else like that, you will be able to move and change directions quicker. So you may see a very, very low time over on console as well. I think I made a couple mistakes over there too, but it's not a big deal, nothing crazy. We're gonna go ahead and go through this area here. We're gonna take a left behind this shelf. We will find the next place that we need to be. Take a hard right here, go down this little fall here, go down the hole, and this is where being on PC is actually super nice because I'm going to change one armor piece. This is the one piece in this actual encounter that I'm going to take a second and change my gear. Because I am on PC, it's very easy for me to switch. On console, it takes a while to do. I'm changing to light ramparts so I can actually just swing over here and get to this platform. Now, if you're quick enough and you're skilled enough, you can actually get to the very top platforms right here where I I am now. But unfortunately, just with the way time worked out, I was not able to get a run where that is. But that could save you a good 10 to 15 seconds if you are good to go there. Now, you'll notice I'm keeping my lion ramparts on. I really do like that for this section, and for when we are in the area with Trevor, I do really enjoy these. We're going to go ahead and climb up. I believe I do 3 of the square sets. Once I get to 3, I turn to my left, and I go on through here. If you have to turn to your left again, you are in good shape. That's what you should be doing. As we come down here, we need to go through the fans. The fans are tricky. The fans are very, very tricky. What I like to do is land on the center or on the platforms. However, in here, I think... Oh, actually, I nail all these. What I do is actually look at the way... If you look where I'm landing, you can see that I'm kind of aiming more to the front of where those small little platforms are. Like, there's the center platform, and then there's, like, the area that's kind of sticking out. I try and aim at that because you won't get killed by the fans if you land on that. During this section, I very much, on this second platform, I literally jam my body deep into that side so I make sure I don't miss it. That second side can be really precarious if you don't do that. Hop on down here. You don't need to hit the switch since no one else is following you. Move on over, and you will be in the area where you need to deal with Trevor. We'll go ahead and come over here to the right. Then we'll be into the ventilation system. We're going to go ahead and come around this area here, fall down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Trevor to come around the corner. You will actually see him for just a second, and I'm waiting because if I get in front of him, obviously I will die, but it's also very important to figure out where he is in the pattern. If I do the run exactly the way I'm going to show you, it makes it so you never run into Trevor again. So, of course, we're going to grab this first switch right here. Very simple. We're going to have to wait for a second over at this electrical grid. So we'll go ahead and meme a little bit, raise a toast. As soon as that is gone, we're going to go up to the second left-hand side switch. As soon as we're done with that, we're going to go back the way we came because then we won't need to wait. So go ahead and hit the switch, move on backwards, and what we're going to do is we're going to fly through the middle area. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through the middle here. We want to hop on this red pipe right here and then head over to the far red pipe. And we're going to go ahead and move on. When we do this, we're going to go ahead and go to the back. You will notice that Trevor's light is sort of getting closer at certain spots, but because of the way that his pattern works, we will not actually see him at any point during this run. Again, we'll have to wait at this first electrical grid. We're going to move on to the second one. Again, you can see Trevor's light just a little bit off in the distance, but what's going to happen is he's going to go back and turn around. We won't have to see him at all. Go ahead and hit this final switch. We're going to move on right here. Nothing too crazy. We'll have to wait for this one. Now, there's an important thing that you need to do on the next electrical grid area. You're going to go ahead and take a left at this green area. What you need to do is jump through here. If you stay on the ground, there's a chance you could get knocked back. Jump through the air because the way that the grid works, it kind of goes from the bottom to the top, so you can skip that entirely. Go ahead and activate this platform, and I'm going to switch off right now onto the gear I want to be using for the boss fight. We'll go ahead and wait till we get to the top. You can actually turn to the right. There are some platforms, some little columns and things like that that you can actually jump on. Some speedrunners do that. For this kind of a run, I really don't chance it because it's really easy to screw up a run by missing one little jump here. So it's really not worth it, especially if you've got anywhere between 8 to 7 minutes, you'll be fine. Come down here, and I'm going to bonk my head a couple of times so I don't die there on the fall down. Go on through to this area, and then what you're going to do is when you fall down, you're going to take kind of a little bit of a hard right, and then you're going to look for this symbol, which is actually the Cryptarch symbol. We're going to go ahead and go through the vault area. If you didn't know, this is essentially the computer system in Destiny 1 that kept all the designs and all the patterns of your weapons. So whenever you transmatted something from your vault into your inventory, this is where they were technically kept. Kind of a cool little piece of lore if you did not know that. All right, we're going to go ahead and go through here, take a little bit of a left, and we're going to move on to the final area of the encounter. Again, not very difficult. You can see like I was actually streaming during this. Bone Chief, thanks for the host, bud. We're going to go ahead and go to the left-hand side. I like to start on the left-hand side, and we're going to just clear the trash mobs. I want to proc kill clip as soon as possible, and I want to get down and hide. The strategy that I'm using, I'm actually not going to kill those turrets that you see. I want to just kill all the trash mobs and save my ammunition for the actual enemies that count for getting the completion. As soon as I get that left side clear, I'm going to move over to the right side. Again, get kill clip procced. And start to move over to the right-hand side. Do not let him shoot me, and do not let the sniper shoot me. Yeah, if this was Forsaken, that guy would already be dead. But because of the way the range on pulses has been nerfed, plus the fact that headshot damage doesn't do as much, kind of changes things up. Now, we're going to go ahead and start Jotuning the boss. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want him to move. I don't want him to stick in this area. This is, I believe, a pretty rough run here. What we want to do is, if you can, you want to hit the boss dead center, because when you do that, it will chain the damage over to those other guys, and it works really well. But here, I did not do that. I'm probably going to get wrecked here. I want to keep using Jotun and do some damage. Again, not a big deal. I'm showing you that I can do it with mistakes, so if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Very recoverable. We're going to knock out that servitor as fast as possible. But again, when you're in your super, you want to focus on him, not his other enemies. And just the way that it tracked today when I was doing the run did not go super well. So this is a section where a lot of people get confused. What they do is they clear these shanks. They clear the entire set of 4, and then they move the boss. And then they are surprised when the shanks come back. Here's what the mechanic actually is. If he is still in that spot and the shanks are gone before he leaves, those shanks will come back no matter what. So you want to move him first. I use my Jotun to do a lot of damage on him, get him over to the next side, and then I kill those shanks. By doing that, they will not come back. Again, this is a big change from Forsaken into Shadowkeep. I will not be able to just put my barrier down and just spam the servitor with a ton of Jotun shots. You can see here I am out of Jotun shots, which is unfortunate because all of these guys are actually running solar shield. So all I have is a 21% delirium. I'm going to have to make that work here. Not a perfect run by any means. I also wasted my grenade thinking I might be able to tag 1 or 2 of them. You cannot do that very easily. However, I'm going to get some Jotun ammunition, which is going to be super duper helpful. Again, we're going to follow that strategy of we're going to move the guy first before we kill all the shanks. You can see he's being a little bit of a dodge here. Again, they're going to want to shoot you pretty heavily here. They're going to team shot you since you're the only person on the map. Move him to the next location and then take out the shanks. Not super difficult, nothing crazy. As soon as those shanks are dead, you're going to also have 1 or 2 enemies that are going to be here in this middle area. Since I do not have my grenade, I am going to wait for a second and do whatever damage I can. I'm going to wait for my grenade because once I get my grenade and my super, those 2 tanks are going to die really easily. Here in this area, I'm going to go ahead and take care of a couple of those ads, those snipers. Again, I don't want all of those ads that are in the middle over back by the boss to be dead, because if they are all dead, they will actually respawn. We don't want that to happen. Again, during this section, I'm honestly just waiting for my grenade to come back, because once my grenade comes back, this is easy mode. As soon as my grenade comes back, I can chuck it at the tank and we can do tons of damage. But right now, I'm still waiting. This is one of the disadvantages of Armor 2.0, is that they basically nerfed the standard regeneration of super, melees, and your grenades. Again, there, I ripped because I didn't kill the turret, but I'm trying to save my ammunition because I want to save that for the boss. I don't need to use it for the turret. The turret doesn't die. But I do have my grenade, and luckily, since I didn't die after throwing my grenade, we're in good shape. So now I can chuck my grenade at the tank, and I can do whatever damage I can do to the boss. Again, I'm doing 2 things at once. Doing some damage to the boss and wrecking the tank. Whenever I can, I'm looking for ammunition as well. So keep moving, keep on your toes. Here, there is a good chance that you might need to do 3 or 4 grenades on that tank. Don't waste your ammunition if you don't have to. If you feel like you have to spam heavy ammunition at the legs or at the core of the tank, you're probably doing it wrong. You just basically need to save your ammunition for the boss. Okay, same procedure here. What I'm going to do is do as much damage as I possibly can to that boss while the grenade is working on the tank. I'm going to be really careful here because the boss pushed up a whole ton. As soon as we get to cover, again, we throw the grenades. You could also use your shield and actually go up to the actual tank and basically just use your controlled demolition on the tank itself. But because of the way that the grenade energy works, I really want to keep that super so I can do some good boss damage here in a little bit so I can have plenty of time. Now you can see I've got 2 minutes on the clock. It's not super stressful. What I'm going to do next is absolutely obliterate him with all of my Jotun. If you've got a barrier shield, you can certainly put that down if you need to. Nothing crazy about this because the Jotun will do a lot of damage without you having to be there to actually be close to him to do damage. Again, a change from Shadowkeep. You can see that I'm not automatically getting my ammunition back. I'm going to put as much damage as I can on the enemies as I can. There might be 1 or 2 enemies in the middle that respawn. Be really careful of them. All right, I'm all out of my 21% delirium. I'm going to take a second look around. I'm going to do whatever damage I can possibly do to the boss in this case. Again, as much damage as I possibly can do. You will notice that I am not killing the ad. And the reason I'm not killing the ad is because if I kill him, there's a chance that all those other ads might spawn up. Now, there's a lot of ammunition right here. Nothing crazy. You might die in this section, but with 1 minute on the clock, you are good to go. You have one little enemy that you need to kill, plus like 3 bits of health on the boss. Very simple, not difficult. You can throw a little bit of Jotun at him. You can throw a couple grenades. You can throw primary ammo at him, and it's no big deal. Go ahead and kill the boss, and then kill the final enemy, and you are all good to go. About 45 seconds left on the clock. 48 seconds left on the clock. You're good to go. Now, to show you that it is also possible on console, I did the same thing. I think it took just 2 runs, and it wasn't a perfect run by any means. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you the end of my console run. You can actually see the difference between the different frames and the point of view. So anyone who says that it's not doable on console is not watched my videos. So I would really recommend that you point them in my direction, because in this video itself you can actually see the difference between the ending on console and the ending over on PC. And that's all there is to it, everybody. I hope you really enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you out a ton. Again, if you need help specifically with this, come join us over on twitch.tv/manodester777. I've gotten hundreds of whispers of the worms for folks, Outbreak, Perfecteds, all those kind of other things. We help people out with comp, raids, all those other things. Join our Discord. Good hunting, Guardians. I'll see you next time in the universe of Destiny.